Hello, everybody who's here for Candidates in the Park. We are going to start a little bit late today. We're going to start in 15 more minutes. We're still waiting for a couple more candidates who are almost here, but we'll start in 15 minutes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Those are my friends, Jay Jenkins and Robert Smith. We call them the Jay Jenkins and Robert Smith duo. Thank you for being here today. We want to introduce you to our umpteenth Republican Women's Mason County candidates in the park. My name is Jen Haugland, and I'm the Vice President of the Republican Women of Mason County this year. We're so excited. Thank you, everybody. This was a joint effort by many of us to put this together. Everybody's worked really hard to make this a special event for you today. We want to make sure you have the opportunity to meet all the Republican candidates locally that are here, and then we also tried to bring in some endorsed Republican candidates from the state level that are running for office, and of course our very own Drew MacEwen, who is running for Congress, is here today. So. Yes, we're very proud of all of our candidates that are here today because they've all worked very hard and they've all deserved to be here to be able to speak to you. And we also do have a nonpartisan candidate here today, a judicial candidate, so we did pick a conservative one to be here. So we want conservative. It is the Republican women's job in our bylaws. We state that we are looking for Republican candidates to run for office. That is our duty. So that's why we have supported Republicans here today, and we did pick a conservative judicial candidate. Anyway, we are getting started here. We have Dean Jewett's Radio Fryer food truck for you to enjoy some food. We've got burgers, hot dogs, onion rings, fries. Thank you, Dean, and his radio flyer for being here today. We have bathrooms over here in this shelter, and then we have all your candidates that are here today have tables that are set up behind me. Please make sure that you spend time at each one of their tables today getting to know them. We have a timer here today. Karen Barr graciously, she is our secretary of our Republican Women's Club. Karen, hold up your cards there. She's gonna be putting up the yellow card when we're at 1 minute and then the red when we're at 7, cutting you off. But all of our candidates have up to 7 minutes to speak today, and we're gonna allow them just a little flexibility. We're not gonna be real stringent on that. But and then we have 2 wonderful MCs with us here today. We have our Secretary of the Mason County Republican Party, Pauline Martin, and we have County Commissioner Sharon Trask, who's also here from District 3. So both of them will be doing our emceeing for today. Okay, so thank you for coming, welcome, and let's get started. We're going to begin our program first with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to introduce William Harris. He is going to come up and do the pledge.
Please rise, place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And we want to do the national anthem next, and then we're going to save the prayer for right after that. So if you would join me in the national anthem, I'm going to sing this a cappella for you today. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet We will now have Pastor Bill Baker here from the Lutheran Church downtown giving us our prayer today. Mount Olive Lutheran Church.
Thank you. That was wonderful, by the way. So it's going to be warm, so I will be brief. We're here, and myself especially, to give thanks for this gathering, to give thanks for all those who are willing to seek office and to serve and to govern us. And my prayer would be that God would continue to grant us good candidates that would act in fairness and justice for all, serve with honesty and integrity, and for the benefit of all the people, not just those that vote for him. And I pray also for a constituency that would pay attention to the issues, that would not seek for their own benefit, but seek candidates that would serve for the benefit of all the people. And so we pray for discernment for ourselves as voters to do the same. So I will pray to the only God that I know, God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. You may have others, but I would hope that your thoughts would be the same. We pray. Lord God, Heavenly Father, you have heard our words. You listen to our hearts. We ask that you would answer our prayers. Allow your peace to reign over this assembly, and we ask that you would answer our prayers according to your will. Amen.
It's got to be short. It's got to be short because
she's
Sharon's short. Okay, is that good?
That's good.
Okay, so we are very happy to be here today to be your co-MCs. If we make any mistakes, please be nice to us because, you know, we try hard. Ish. We want to thank everyone who organized this. The Republican ladies did a fabulous job, right? We're all sitting in the shade. Woo! Okay, so how many of you are ready to get started? Oh my God, really? No.
One more
time. Let's do this, ladies.
Who's ready to do this?
Who's ready to do this?
Yeah. There we go.
That's what I'm talking about. See why we need ladies? Because we're like, you know, because we're loud and proud, right?
Right.
And
right.
super pretty. This one. Okay, so we're going to get started with our first speaker. Who's that going to be?
Well, I think it's Drew.
Drew MacEwen. Woo!
All right, I'm going to take this out. How's everybody doing today? There we go. Well, it is a pleasure to be here. Been transversing the 6th District for the past few months, putting on a lot of miles, and I'll tell you, it's nice just to be back home in Mason where I know I've got your support, and you're rocking and rolling, and we're going to get this thing done. This is the first time in a generation plus that we have an opportunity to win this seat. The last Republican to hold this seat lost re-election in 1964. And things have changed dramatically, though, not only over the last decade, but in the last 2 weeks. When we go back to 2012, when Derek Kilmer was elected, there was only one state representative on the Republican side in the state legislature, and that was Jan Angel in the 26th. And what does it look like today? The 35th, completely Republican. The 26th, 2 out of 3 Republican. 19th, completely Republican. The 31st, completely Republican. It has changed dramatically, folks. Yes, amen. And in the last 2 weeks, across the 6th District, there has been a 10-point shift on a generic ballot. That's before people are aware of a candidate or where they stand. A 10-point shift in our favor. That is huge, folks. We can do this. And I'm going to try real hard not to take this whole 7 minutes. You got a lot of people here. But a couple of points. I continue to hear these top 3 issues across the district. The economy, it's not working for people. For working families, they're getting decimated. Savings are down. Credit card loads are up. And we've seen a dramatic increase in 401k hardship withdrawals. It's 40% higher than last year through June 30th. What does that tell you, folks? Bidenomics is not working, and we've got to fix that. We've got an immigration system that's out of control. More people are dying. Travis says this all the time. More people are dying every month from fentanyl than we lost in 9/11. That's horrible. And there's a whole host of national security issues that go along with that. And on that point, we've got to make reinvestments into our shipyard, into our military personnel to make sure that we can be forward deployed and defend our freedoms that we cherish, because the world is not a safe place right now. And if we don't project strength, we're going to invite attack, and I do not want that scenario. So I'm concentrating fully on those. And I'll tell you what my two Democrat opponents, what they talk about. One of them talks about how she's solving all these issues as the Commissioner of Public Lands. Meanwhile, you may have seen a Seattle Times article this past week. Maybe you haven't, so I'll tell you, because I don't think a lot of us read the Seattle Times. But 15 current and former employees of her agency came out about how inappropriately and unprofessionally she pressured her staff to raise her political profile. There's some serious ethics issues there, including some public records issues. She's dealing with that, and meanwhile, my other opponent, who's a fellow senator, she's more concerned about identity politics and do you check the right boxes. Folks, we got serious problems before us. This is not the time for that. We're all Americans, we're all God's children, and we've got to make a country that's going to work for all of us, right? And when we do that, a lot of our issues and a lot of our problems are solved. And those that cannot take care of themselves, yeah, we're going to give them a hand up and help them get on their feet for sure. I don't dispute that for one moment. This past week we had a debate in Tacoma, and one of my opponents advocated for packing the court. I think that's the wrong way to go. Because you're not winning under the current rules, you're going to change the rules. I don't think that's the right method. And that's just horrendous. And when it comes to military issues, they demonstrate their lack of knowledge on it. And that's not a good thing with the problems that we're facing today. Folks, I'm all in on this. We've got a primary, as you know, in a few weeks. We've got a number of races with multiple Republicans in it. And I just want to know from you guys right now that regardless of who you support and who wins in August, are we on the same page that we're voting for the Republican nominee that wins? Amen. Because it is the only way we will win. Because if we do not unite, and it doesn't mean you got to necessarily be enthusiastic, but you better check the boxes. If you don't, we're going to get the same nonsense we've had in this state for the last 30 plus years. And we did this in 2012. There was a number of people who said, Rob McKenna, not conservative enough for us. Well, what did that get us? 12 years of Jay Inslee. Higher taxes, more pollution under his administration. Folks, let's get on the same page. I'm committed. I'm all in to winning this congressional race with your help, your support. And got a bunch of candidates here. Pick your favorite ones. Give them a couple bucks. It takes a lot to get these things done, and your support is greatly appreciated. And my just heartfelt thanks to all of you. You've been with me for the past 12 years that I've been in office, and I am very grateful for it and that I can campaign in the other 5 counties in the state and just know that Mason County is taken care of. So let's go out. Let's win this thing. These next few weeks are going to be a little exciting. The other side likes to talk about democracy, but yet they're talking about replacing their nominee without a vote. So you tell me who's at threat here. But this is important, and it's a critical juncture. And again, God bless you. Let's get it done, and thanks for being here today.
So, because Drew is so good at talking, we have one question to ask you. Tell us something that few people know about you. Make it clean.
Your wife doesn't slap.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't have a great slap shot. Travis and I play hockey. I have more of a wrist shot. So there you go.
All right. All right, up next. Come on.
Okay.
Jeez. Up
So-
next we have
Our good friend.
Dan Griffey.
Woo!
Well, thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. These traditions that we do, time-honored, matter to me. I've been using my time now that I don't have an opponent to talk about me and growing up and the reason that I do the things in the legislature that I do. I grew up in the giant town of Allen. All of you know that. But when I grew up there, it was the 70s. Everybody in that town could punish me, which also meant I couldn't get away with anything. I think that's probably why I'm in the legislature now, because, well, there were things that I tried to get away with. But what we had was intense and strong community. When on voting day, we would have a potluck, and the whole town would get together and cherish being around one another. We don't do that anymore. As a matter of fact, I think we have a majority in this state that thinks that we shouldn't get together like this. That getting together like this means you get independent thought, and they can't have that from us at all. There's many things in Washington State that are exceptionally broken, and I've talked about them many times, but you know what? I can't get past the public safety aspect, mentally ill, and those that are suffering needlessly homeless on our streets. If you listen to the majority party, oh, there's nothing we can do about any of those things because we got to protect their civil rights. BS. I think what we should do and what our obligation to do is offer a helping hand to change the narrative that it is not okay to step over somebody that is dying in a pile of their own vomit. No, it is our obligation as a society to offer aid and assistance and not further. What are you pointing at? No, that's not mine. It was, Will already got it. Something's beeping and.
He's talking to me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, I get 2 more minutes, right? No. I was on a roll. But when it comes to public safety, it's not just the laws. It is our court system, and I assure you, I have an obligation by Washington State's Constitution to hold our judicial branch accountable, and I will do that. There will be laws that we tell judges they're going to have to do things. 80% of the judges right now in Washington State have been appointed by one man and one man only, Jay Inslee. We're seeing right now a troubling time when it comes to the defense bar and whether we have public defenders. And a lot of Republicans ask me, why do you care about public defenders? Well, I care about someone's civil rights, their right to an attorney. And if they don't have an attorney, guess what? Society can't hold them accountable because they're guaranteed under our Constitution, they're guaranteed proper defense. But when it comes to domestic violence survivors and sexual assault survivors, I've experienced firsthand how they're treated in court, and I'll tell you what, we're doing them a disservice. We have asked that the judges make themselves aware of new evaluation tools, and one of those evaluation tools is the lethality risk assessment tool. The lethality risk assessment tool measures a defendant's propensity to commit murder against the person that they're petitioning the court for help from. And all too often, it's not just Mason County, it's all over the state. Judges don't understand the lethality risk assessment tool, and all too often they're injuring those sexual assault and domestic violence survivors. Saying things like, well, that risk assessment tool said that you are a risk, but those children aren't. How could someone begging for help from our judicial branch, begging for help, suffer such a statement? I don't know. But I assure you, I am obligated by the Constitution to hold the judiciary accountable, and I will be doing so. And they will be educated on all of these tools. I got so much to say, and they're going to cut me off. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Oh.
I got to ask you. Okay, so we have a little question for Dan. What was your first job, and what did you like about it the most?
First family job where I was actually paid, or first job away from the family? Because they're 2 different things. I'll talk about 2. So I worked for, my first job was my family owned an auto towing, auto wrecking, and auto mechanic business. And as soon as I was useful, I was ordered to work there. However, they didn't have to pay me. So my real job, they said they had to pay the real employees first. What? Come on. You know, the guy that knew how to paint, that guy. Anyway, no, my first real job out of school is I worked at a full-service gas station in the giant town of Allen. At that job, at 15 years old, I was doing lube oil and filter changes, tune-ups. The owner didn't know that I knew all of that and wasn't going to hire me. So when I went and put his lead mechanic to shame when it came to diagnosing an engine, he hired me on the spot. Fun fact there is I serviced Don James's rig quite often. And a couple things to know about Don James. He was a wonderful football coach and loved him to death. But Don James did not like talking about football. The only way you could get Don James to open up about anything is to talk about anything other than football, which is something my wife and I have to figure out because all she wants to do is, what did you do at the Capitol today, honey? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, thank you all for your support over the years. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have the pleasure of introducing you to Travis Couture.
All right, thank you, everybody. If you don't know, I'm Travis Couture. I'm your newest state representative in the 35th District, elected last election season in 2022. It was a rude awakening going to Olympia. I mean, you kind of see and you kind of a little bit know what you're in for, but just to see, you know, all the things that the majority party is doing in Olympia can be disheartening at times. But one of the tools, and of course I have my seatmates, Dan Griffey and Drew MacEwen, very experienced guys. We work very well as a team, and that's why I think we get a lot done for the 35th District. But honestly, when you're in the House, we have 40 Republicans and 58 Democrats. You get outnumbered a lot, and it can be discouraging at times. But and politics in general can be discouraging at times, but you have to learn to be a joyful warrior. You have to learn to kind of do a little reset, put a smile on your face, and go back into the fight, and let the other side know that they didn't get to you. So I've been doing that the last 2 years, and of course, you know, frustrating laws get passed in Olympia. We have a catalog of crises in our state. Dan talked a little bit about public safety, drugs, homelessness, affordability, childcare, taxes, you name it, our transportation system. Everything around us seems to crumble, and all we got to do is turn on the local news to see another juvenile crime in progress or another person's car being stolen. We're like in the top 5 category for almost every crime across the United States. Property crime, larceny, theft, you name it. Murders. It's really bad. And one of the things that I think has happened is a coordinated attack on our entire public safety system, which is not just police, but that's where it started, trying to defund the police and, you know, throw them in jail more than the criminals, right? And it's a good thing that we were able to restore police pursuit once again, because police should be able to chase the bad guys, right? However, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the start. Our public safety system includes the courts, which Dan talked about being a revolving door. It includes our prosecutors. It includes our public defense. It includes a lot of different things. And really kind of tangentially, it includes a lot of the mental health, behavioral health, and substance abuse treatment that people want, people need, especially maybe in downtown and cities in a lot of places, but we just don't have access to, especially in rural communities. One of the things I worked really hard on, I'm in every committee that deals with kids in Olympia, whether it be education, early learning, whatever it may be, and also in appropriations, the funding for those things. And one of the things that has devastated me the most is the substantial and unacceptable rise in child deaths due to hard drugs like fentanyl and meth. And Drew touched on it a little bit, but we had, in 2022, we had roughly 3,000 drug deaths in our state, and every year since, it just keeps rising. And we see it play out on our streets, the slow motion death, because of things like harm reduction that allow the state to give people the tools for them to kill themselves. Needles, booty bumping kits. I mean, it really gets ridiculous. A lot of those things paid for by tax dollars. And we're just sitting there watching, the majority party especially, watching people die on our streets as we step over them. And that's wrong. Dan talked about how that's wrong. But there's a more nefarious thing happening that's not visible on our streets, and that's in our homes. With babies and toddlers especially, an exponential rise in child deaths. I absolutely went to bat to try to stop those unnecessary child deaths because the state believes that it's perfectly safe for a child to live in a home where a parent is abusing fentanyl, meth, or heroin, or cocaine. And as a result of that ideology and that belief, we're starting to see 100 child deaths a year and a lot of child overdoses, a lot of times babies and toddlers, because they're running around exploring their world, putting things into their mouth. We should be protecting our kids, and not just in the home against drugs, but in our schools as well. We passed a Parents' Bill of Rights in the legislature. Yes. And, you know, I got up on the House floor and I said that the state does not own our kids. They don't own our kids. The 14th Amendment essentially says that parents have an absolute right to parent unless there is abuse or neglect. So, on one hand, the Democrats say, no, we have to hide what's happening in schools from parents. We have to hide what teachers are teaching and what they're doing. But on the other hand, they say if you're 13 years old, the state can hide a child from their parents if they want to have a sex transition or any kind of gender-affirming care. And that's wrong. It is not abuse to not affirm someone's pronouns, and children cannot make those life-altering decisions for themselves. And so I spend a lot of time in Olympia trying to protect our kids, whether it be in the K-12 system, whether it be in the child welfare system, and our state is absolutely broken in those areas. And right now people are suffering. They're suffering because of the high cost of gas, the high cost of groceries, rent, mortgages, and everything else. And we have to do a lot more to make our state affordable, and the answer is very clear. We need a small government that lives within its means and stops taking money from people and wasting it on subsidies for the elite. And thank you. So I'm running for re-election, very happy to have represented you, very proud and honored to have represented you the last 2 years. There's a lot, we've done some great things, but there's a lot more work to be done, and I'd appreciate your vote once again. Thank you.
All right, so your question is, what's your favorite thing about being a dad?
My favorite thing about being a dad. There's so many things. Yeah. Well, I got one that just turned 18. Hopefully he moves out soon, so that maybe maybe that. But no, I mean, there's so many great things. I'm getting a little sad because, you know, 3 of our kids are teenagers, and we got one that's 6 years old, and every time we do something new, like learn how to ride a bike or anything like that, it just feels like it's the last time I'll teach a kid how to do something like that. And so it kind of hits in here a little bit. The other day, you know, of course, my 6-year-old, it's summer, he's 6 years old, going into 2nd grade next year, and he's just outside having the time of his life. Too many kids are inside in their video games and their electronics, right? Living an imaginary world, but here he is, he's out in the kid pool out in the backyard, running around the backyard, and it was like 8 p.m. and he was asleep, just dead tired asleep, and I just thought, it reminded me of all the things like that I did when I was around his age, and how I get to watch that kind of all over again. And so watching him grow up and watching him kind of do some of the same things that you did, and hopefully, you know, my goal is to always provide a better life than the one I had, and I think that's probably every parent's goal. You know, getting to watch him live his summer vacation out and have a blast and do it outside and you know, really wear himself out, that kind of stuff makes me proud.
Well, you know, Travis, you're going to be a very young grandpa. No matter what. No, Julie, someday, you get to do it all over again, except this time you get a send them home, right? So anyway, thank you so much. Okay, so we're moving along. We have a list of great candidates. Our next candidate is the endorsed Republican candidate for governor. Are you ready? I'm just making sure. Yes, he's ready. Sammy Bird. Let's welcome him to the stage. What are we gonna do with this one?
I'm supposed to be down in all fours or threes or something to get my ready stance. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm honored to be supported by the Mason County Republican Women's Club. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Washington State Republican Party. I said that twice. The delegates showed up in Spokane April 20th, and they ensured their voices were heard. 72% supermajority. So when anybody ever tells you we can or we can't or there's not enough money, there's not enough name brand recognition, understand this. This is America. That flag, look at it. It only takes one flag to represent every citizen of this great nation. One flag represents all American citizens. One flag. And that flag means more than money. It means more than name brand recognition. It means more than the good old boys club. It means we the people, that this is a nation that is founded as a constitutional republic. And a constitutional republic can only be maintained by the self-governance of the people, the citizens of this nation. Just a few days ago, we celebrated our birth of a nation. 4th of July, Independence Day. The intestinal fortitude and the personal courage of our founders to stand tall, to stand strong, to stand courageously against the British Empire and say no more. Enough is enough. We choose independence, we choose freedom, and we choose liberty. It is our God-given rights. It is not you controlling me or you telling me what I can or cannot do. Just like right now in 2024 in Washington State, we do not let others select our candidates. We, the people, elect our candidates. Are you with me on that? This very kind lady, right as I was prepared to take the stage, as we embraced, because of love between a brother and a sister, as she thanked me for doing what I'm doing, and my beautiful family, my wife and my daughter. This is our family standing together for America, for everything that God has given, for everything that we believe in. I could have ran, but I chose to run. Humble, blessed, given all. Navigated adversity my entire life. Son of a single mom with 7 children. Started off my life with poverty, welfare, high school dropout. Every excuse in the book that I could amass, I could bring forward, but my mother raised me to be an American and not an Americant. So I ask you, thank you. I ask you, as we come time for the primary election, will you stand for what you believe in, and will you fight for what you love? We will not let others tell us or minds scam us into thinking that our values are worth a certain amount of money, that if an elitist group of moneybaggers can bring enough money to a campaign that they can buy your candidate, that if enough politicians get together and give their endorsement and all their support to one person over another, that has more power than we the people. And I'm here to tell you that this flag, this nation, and this country was founded on a premise that every single citizen of this great nation has worth, has value, has purpose. And this nation was dedicated to we the people. And it will be we the people that will take our nation back. It'll be we the people that'll take Washington State back. I have been campaigning for the last year and a half in the inner city of Seattle, Washington, in the Central District. The founding member of Democrats for Diversity and Inclusion is now leading our team of canvassers in the Central District of Seattle, Washington. a Muslim imam who sent his 2 children back to war-torn Somalia because he felt it was safer for his children to grow up in his village than into the inner city schools of Seattle. They are with our campaign in the Central District of Seattle, Washington. We are bringing young people to bear, young people who understand that when I graduate from high school or I graduate from college, and we should be talking about trade schools, but when we graduate, can we afford to live in the state that I was raised in? Our senior citizens and our veterans who have given their lives in service and in servitude, employment in the state, find themselves in a fixed income, unable to live in the state in which they worked their entire life. Affordability. And why? Why do we talk about affordable housing? Why? I can tell you, when we raise the energy codes so high that it doubles the cost of building an apartment unit, it doubles the cost of building a home, and you want to know why we have a housing affordability problem. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or another lawyer or another career politician to figure out common sense. We're bringing common sense governance back to Washington State. And declaring our love and support and respect for our men and women of law enforcement, and I say those words, love, respect, and dedication to them. As governor on day 1, I will announce and we will proclaim and we will make it very formal that Washington State will be a state of law and order. We will declare on day 1 that we will no longer be a sanctuary state. We will declare on day 1 that we will initiate a third-party audit of all state programs, all state offices, and we will know where the money is going. My friends, in my last 30 seconds that I have, I will tell you this. I'm going to work. I'm not going to Olympia to hold a political office for a Republican Party or a Democrat Party. I'm a constitutional Christian conservative. I am a son of America. I am loyal to the Constitution of Washington State and loyal to the Constitution of the United States of America. I swore an oath most in all of my adult life to protect and to defend the Constitution, and that oath has never ended. My service to the Corps, my service in Army Special Forces, that Bronze Star of Valor and that Purple Heart that are solidly earned. In valorous service to my nation said that I would give my life for my country. Know what I will do to preserve the state that I was raised in for my beautiful wife and my beautiful child. I will not give up. I will not give in. I cannot be bought. I will not compromise. I will fight for you and I will fight for Washington. I hope that you fight with me and we will give Olympia the bird. God bless you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Woohoo! Okay, so of course we have a question for you. But first, I have a question for them. So how many of you are moms? And I mean moms in any way, shape, or form. Furry people, little people, not so little people anymore. No, really, just raise your hand. Awesome. So you'll appreciate my question. So, Semi, what is the best advice your mom ever gave you?
That is a beautiful question, and thank you. My mom and like my wife are the angels of my life, and I'll give my daughters, because I have all 3 daughters. I make girls. God said you will be around women your entire life. I am a better man for it, I admit. My mother said, son, and keep in mind that I was born without civil rights in America in 1961, born in East Oakland, California, raised in Seattle since I was a little boy of 6. My mother said, son, no matter where you find yourself in life, and you want to know who is responsible, you look to 2 places. First, you look in the mirror, because you are solely responsible. You reap what you sow. But for all good things that come to you in your life, I want you to look up and I want you to give glory to God. Because you are here by His will, and you are here to do His will. Never forgive that. Stay in the light, and you will be just fine. And so I have deviated, I have faltered, I have fallen, but I've always gotten back up. I never quit, I never give up, and I will always find the light, and I walk strongly into it right now for all of us together for Washington State. Thank you and God bless you.
Man, are we having fun or what? Yeah, right? Right?
Well, that lady right there is. Who else is?
Richard's having fun. Kim's having fun.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So, who's
So
next?
we are moving on to Sharon. She's running for treasurer. Sharon Hanek.
We want to hear from Sharon because she's going to talk about money, which we all want, right?
And don't we love her name?
Yes.
Yes.
Come on in.
And our height.
Right.
And I have to come after the wonderful Sonny Bird there and all his speech, but I'm Sharon Hanek. I am running for state treasurer. 12 years ago, I was someone that was like many of you and not really thinking about running for office or anything on filing week. And then in May, end of May, and in June, someone said, you should run for office. I said, for what? Filing week's over. You know, what do I do? He said, write-in campaign. There was a Democrat running for state treasurer unopposed. So I jumped in as the write-in campaign and made it in the primary race to be the first one ever to win a statewide primary election and move on to the general. This year, I decided to get smarter, and I thought, so at the beginning of filing week, I talked to Jim Walsh. I said, has anyone expressed an interest? And I looked again that no one was going to be running for state treasurer, so I jumped in on Wednesday to be your next state treasurer. Over the past years, I actually prefer to be behind the scenes. Some of you may have heard me talk about education issues, about election issues. I know I've been to the Mason County Republican Women's Club many times over the past years to talk about those things, as well as to talk about Let's Go Washington and the initiatives. I was the state coordinator in 2022 and 2023 to organize all the volunteers to get those 6 initiatives over the finish line. If you organized a transcription team locally and got those in, that was under my, if you call it, department for Brian, that we checked every one of those transcriptions, we checked every one of those names, we scanned everything, so we got it all processed and to the Secretary of State's office so that we turned in all those millions of signatures. Then this year, I was also part of the 2066 campaign. So now that that's over, I can actually start my campaign for state treasurer. Many of you have known me also for the education election, but may not have known that I'm actually a CPA. And I've had a CPA practice doing audits, doing tax work, representing clients in front of the IRS, Employment Security, and LNI for the past 25 years. That's what I really do. Therefore, coming into the job as state treasurer is really an extension of my life experiences. What I will bring to the role of state treasurer will be private sector experience, understanding of financial systems, understanding of investments, and making sure that our lending activity is healthy. Those are the 3 main jobs: cash flow, investments, and protection of our bond rating. That's what the treasurer does. In looking at the cash flow, many people that are not in the accounting profession think that having an audit and overviewing everything, that's all you need. But it really isn't. Because when a corporation or a government agency goes through an audit, you do have an independent third-party auditor. And they may find things wrong and they may tell you what you're doing good. But in the end, the auditor has no authority to fix anything. So I'm looking at audit reports, and they say all these things are wrong. There's money being lost. There's money being, I don't quite stolen maybe, and would be my word, but just not there would be what they might say. But the question is, if you find these deficiencies, who fixes it? Well, the state treasurer is in charge of the cash flow system. And as state treasurer, I should be in charge and going to every state agency and saying, fix it. the auditor tells me what needs to be fixed. If it's really bad, we can go to the Attorney General. So what we really need is a wonderful slate from the governor to the state treasurer, to the auditor, to the Attorney General, to really fix things in Olympia. Because and one of the things that's happening right now, and I've been communicating with the only Republican state treasurer we had 4 years ago, and he said that most state treasurers do have that authority. But in Washington State, we had a governor that blocked, because of their sweet appointments of their agency heads, and would not allow access for the state treasurer to come in and really do a good review. So one of the things I do want to accomplish is to do a review of the accounting system, the internal control system, to strengthen it and make sure we don't have things like Nigerian scams where we lose $6 million, and it only says at least. So how much money did we really lose? So we need to stop those things. And then now we add in cybersecurity, because I believe there really hasn't been anyone that has the knowledge, the understanding of the systems, and the ability to really fix what's broken in Washington State money management system. The numbers are there. There are reports. There's a really good accounting system that codes everything, every which way you would ever want information. But those numbers are not easy to read for the average citizen. So the other thing I'd like to do is make sure that we have a good reporting system. I sit on the Birth to 25, which is the Children's Advisory Board in Pierce County, as well as the Planning Commission. And in those roles, I see money being spent. In fact, $3 million was given to this Children's Commission, I'm going to use the word commission, advisory board, so that we could spend that money. And I'm thinking, what pot of money did that $3 million? Because that pot of money is not in the state appropriations budget for education. How many other pots of money are there for education? We've got trees, and almost every bill that comes by has maybe 1% goes to education, because it always has to be for the children. So what if you had a report that says, here's your sources of money for education. Here's from trees being cut. Here's from the RTA taxes. Here's from the state appropriations, federal government. Here's from Bill Gates and all his little funding elements. And have one report that can tell you everything. So some of the things I do want to do is fix the reporting system. So make you have it easy. So what you really need is someone who is a CPA, someone who is a treasurer, someone who actually knows money to be your next state treasurer. So if you want accountability, if you want good reporting, if you want to have good internal control systems, vote Sharon Hanek for state treasurer and tell 2 million of your other friends to do so. Thank you.
Oh, we do have a question for you. You're following along. I like that. Okay, so our question for Sharon is, what is your favorite board game and why? Is it Monopoly? No.
It actually is Chutes and Ladders. Because usually I played a lot of card games. I played backgammon. But when I had kids, Chutes and Ladders was a game of choice. And just recently, I've been playing Chutes and Ladders with my 4-year-old granddaughter.
Isn't that cute? That's so cute. See, Travis, you're going to be able to play Chutes and Ladders again. Right?
Right.
So much fun. Okay, so now we have... Yeah. We have a message from... Okay, wait. Hold on. We have a message from Dale Whitaker, who is running for our...
Secretary of State.
That's what I thought. She's a woman. Secretary of State. Yes. And he couldn't be here, but that young guy is working hard all over the state.
And Sue Kuehl Pederson is almost here. She's going to be here in 5 minutes. So I'm going to try and drag this out just a couple of minutes here for Dale. So Dale really wanted to be here today. He's from the UK and became a naturalized U.S. citizen. We're very proud of that. And he understands what we need in the Office of Secretary of State. The Republican Women of Mason County is actually going to be having him here as a special guest of ours in September. So please put on your calendar September 6th. We haven't got the venue site just yet, but because we want to draw a bigger crowd, we want to really try to make sure we have a good spot for him so that as many people can be there as possible. So save the date for September 6th with the Republican Women of Mason County. It will be during our regular luncheon time. And also, please, if you like what the Republican Women of Mason County are doing to help promote our candidates here and what we've done today, and other things that we do in our community, please consider joining us. We have our membership table over here on the side with all the information. We also have information here on the Mason County Republican Central Committee that's also there. And then, of course, don't forget all our candidates tables after we're done today. All right. So again, I'm Jen Hauglin. I'm your Vice President of the Republican Women of Mason County. I'm serving this year along with Janie Kamen, our President, and with Karen Barr, who's doing our secretary, and then with Becky Cronquist, who's been so great with our Treasury Department today, or this year. She's done a great job. Thank you. We've had some great fundraisers this year so far, too, so that's been excellent. Okay, now on to Dale Whitaker. Dale wrote out everything for me, even to say my name. So I'm here today speaking on behalf of Dale Whitaker, who is running for office of Secretary of State. Dale's picking up his dad, who's coming here from the UK today, so he's proudly bringing his dad to America today and sharing our country with him in Washington State, so that's why he's not here. But Dale Whitaker is running for the office of Secretary of State. He's lived in Spokane since 2008, when he emigrated from England to the United States, and he became a proud citizen in 2015. Both Dale and his wife run businesses in Spokane, and Dale has a small tax practice, and his wife has a small cleaning business. They have 2 children and a grandchild, and they are active participants in their community. Dale is running for Secretary of State because he believes that election transparency is the most important issue on the ballot. He believes that we must instill confidence in the electorate and that our election process and infrastructure are accessible, transparent, safe, and secure for each and every citizen in Washington State. He understands it is the right only of the citizen, born or naturalized, to vote in our elections, and that each citizen must have confidence that their vote counts and that their voice will be heard when they show up at the ballot box. Dale also believes that small businesses are what make Washington State thrive, and that lowering the cost of doing business in this state would greatly benefit small businesses. He is committed to cutting costs within the Office of Secretary of State and building a team of dedicated, hardworking individuals. This approach will not only benefit the department, but also support small businesses across Washington by cutting costs on business registrations and renewal fees. If you believe, as Dale does, that we must do everything in our power to ensure the security of our elections for the citizens of this state and country, please vote for him on August 6th and again on November 5th. You can find out more about Dale and his campaign at www.whitakerforwa.com. Thank you very much.
So we know that you guys are having a lot of fun, but we also know that there are some initiatives out there that we all need to keep an eye on. So Travis has been kind enough to come up and let us know how we should vote.
All right, sorry for the cameo. Everyone should know that there is going to be 4 initiatives on your November ballot. And what are they? repealing the CCA, your hidden gas tax, 50, 55, 60 cents on top of every dollar of your gallon of gas. That's one. Opting out of the long-term care payroll tax, giving you a choice to opt out. Repealing the state's capital gains income tax, which stifles innovation and sends all our job creators to Florida. And then we just now, if you haven't heard, qualified a fourth one, to stop the ban on natural gas. We needed something like 325,000 signatures in a very short runway, but we ended up getting over 500,000 signatures in just a couple weeks. All of the initiatives, all the 4 initiatives on your ballot have to do with your, in one way, shape, or form, your cost of living. Capital gains taxes, right now it applies to your secondary home, but do you believe that it won't apply to your primary home if we don't defeat it? It might. And with the CCA spending a lot of money for, a lot of your gas money on subsidies for the elite, solar panels and electric ferries we'll never get, bike pathways in Seattle. People can't afford a lot of this stuff. A long-term care payroll tax, a long-term care program, many in this area will not ever be able to take advantage of, but will have to pay into. And a natural gas ban that could cost, well, number one, it's corporate welfare for Puget Sound Energy. That's number one, but it would combine utilities, electric and natural gas, so they can go around community to community and end natural gas, which is a reliable source of clean energy for many people and an affordable source of clean energy for many people. But also, if we don't stop that and they come into our community and say you have to convert to electric, it could cost you upwards of $70,000 or more to convert. And we do not have the baseload energy for this quote-unquote all-electric future that the Democrats want in this state. And so one thing to remember, if you get confused, because there will be ballot statements on the ballot, and they will try to confuse people from the other side. The only thing you need to remember and the only thing you need to tell your friends, vote yes, pay less. Vote yes, pay less on all 4 of them. So say it with me. Vote yes, pay less. Vote yes, pay less. There you go, and tell that to 2 million of your friends. Thank you.
That was so great.
That was awesome.
That was great. Tell 2 million of your friends, because, you know, everybody loves people from Mason County, right? So we wanted to, right? Yeah. Some of my best friends live here. You can raise your hand, the ones I gave $5 to earlier. So, Wesley. Oh, husbands, cause. Wait, you did give me $5. That's so awesome. I love you. Okay, so we wanted to make a quick announcement. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of getting some scrumptious food from the radio flyer, they will be leaving in 20 minutes, so now's your chance to go grab some good food. Because we're going to have some musical entertainment, so you can take a potty break, that's the mom and me, or you can go grab some food, that's also the mom and me, or you could just chat with your neighbors, or you could sing along. I don't know. There's so many choices.
All right, we're going to call you guys back in. Take a seat, take a seat.
No napping right now.
No. So, all right, so Sue is here. No. Oh, thank you. All right. So I think Sue went to get some signs so that you guys can all put them up in your areas. Oh, and
here we go.
she's coming that way.
Okay, everybody, if you can take your seats, we're getting ready to start again. Randy Lewis. Watch this. Randy Lewis. Randy Lewis. Hey! Sit down. Oh, not this time. Maybe next time, but I know. I just want to see how many times it takes. 3. It takes 3 times to get a Randy to respond. It's a record. Anyway, we're going to get started again. Now, I want you all to know that our next speaker is Sue Pederson, and she's coming up. So let's, ready? I want you all to say hi, Sue. Ready? We've been waiting, haven't we? You're fine. You're good. Was that a warm welcome? Can we try it one more time? Woo! Because we're all friends here. Okay, so Sue, we've been waiting.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You know, things happen. Things happen. We are just so happy that you're here. So let's do this. Ready?
Ready.
Breathe. Take a deep breath. Okay, go. You do this.
I've never been greeted like that. Thank you so much. Wow. Makes me feel very special. But really, you probably did it because I'm so late. I am sorry to be late. I had to get my RV prepared for my son and his girlfriend. They're doing the Seattle to Portland bike ride. And they told me at the last minute they want to sleep tonight in my RV in Chehalis. So, whoa, okay. So I got that done, and I'm here. How many of you have heard me speak before? Oh, not everybody. So I'll do my best to summarize. My name is Sue Kuehl Pederson, running for Commissioner of Public Lands. That's a statewide office. Washington is one of maybe only 3 or 4 states in the country that elects the Commissioner of Public Lands. All the other states, they're just appointed by their governors. So I feel it's quite an honor to run for this position because this person oversees the Department of Natural Resources. That's quite a large agency. I'm told there's about 1,700 employees year-round, plus another 400 or so during firefighting season. The reason they hire firefighters is because the DNR is responsible for coordinating all the wildfire fighting in the state. So they're the go-to agency that will bring in the right teams from various places. They even use British Columbia firefighting crews if it's, you know, in the north and a big fire. So that's their job. It's quite a serious job. The DNR also manages 12% of Washington's lands, which are state-owned. And they, in our 1889 Constitution, it creates this position and it charges the commissioner with earning revenues from our natural resources. So that's been since 1889. This person is supposed to manage for timber sales, probably used to be more mining and such. They lease grazing lands, and the money they earn, the revenues, it says in the Constitution, is supposed to go towards education and hospitals and other public institutions. You probably all know that our state constitution, which is a fabulous document if you haven't read it, it says that the paramount duty of the state is to, what? Educate all the children. And we're the only state in the country that has such language. So we take it seriously, educating our youth, and I find that to be a very worthwhile activity for me if I'm elected. I have other ideas. The reason I'm running for this position, I feel like I have a good background to serve. I'm a scientist, I'm a biologist, and I've been a natural resource manager for 30 years. I just worked in my profession. I loved all my jobs. I got to be a fisheries researcher. The first real job I had was following adult salmon up over the Columbia River and Snake River dams using radio tags. We would tag the fish with a little transmitter, and then we'd follow them with directional antennas so we could see how do they approach the dam, how do they get up that ladder, do they fall back over the dam. We had tons of data that we shared with the Army Corps of Engineers, and then they retrofitted those dams to help the adult salmon navigate a little easier over the dams. I also, on the other side of that, the flip side, I worked for a private company in Seattle called Biosonics, and that company manufactured high-tech sonar equipment and then hired biologists like me to operate the equipment and run studies of juvenile salmon going downstream over the same dams and a few more in the mid-Columbia. So I had a lot of experience looking at fish trying to get around dams. That was my start. But then I branched out a little. I became a harvest manager. I had a job where I went out for 3 months on Japanese stern trawlers in the Gulf of Alaska. I was the only woman and the only English speaker on that boat. So it was quite an experience in isolation mainly, but I got to key out. I was the only person working on a rockfish trawler. I got to key out hundreds of species that were pulled up from the bottom of the ocean, and it was fantastic. I loved that part of it. I also was the Puget Sound salmon harvest manager for a short time. I was in charge of the non-tribal commercial fishing, purse seine and gillnet boats. I kept track of the fishing effort and how many fish were getting caught. That was interesting. Later on, I also did a lot of habitat work. I was a state habitat manager for most of Kitsap County. Thank you. I didn't know I was being timed. Okay, so I'm going to rush ahead. I worked at Seattle City Light for many years, first as a senior environmental analyst, mostly doing permitting of hydro project construction. And then I switched to the other side of City Light and became a senior power analyst, learning all about our power resources, the generation, the transmission, the grid. I represented Seattle at Bonneville Power Administration. So I just had this incredible opportunity to work in a lot of natural resource areas. And that's my background. I think it fits this job very well. And I have plenty of ideas for how to stop the horrific wildfires. We need to manage our lands because we kind of stopped in about 1990. We need to remanage our lands, and now I have a red sign. Anyway, I'm really happy to see all of you, and my website is citizens, plural, citizens, 4, Sioux.com. My resume is on there. I'll show you more of my work background, and I'm just really excited for the prospect of helping all of us enjoy Washington again. Thank you. Thank you.
We have a question for you, because everyone has a personal question that Sharon and I make up to see.
Okay.
So just so you know, we've made all of these up today. like on the spot. Are we like smart or what? Okay. Wait, what did you say? Husband. Shh. Anyway. Yeah, I do. Anyway, Sue, your question is, what is your favorite Toy Story character? And let's go with the original #1 movie. Okay.
Wow, what a great question. Well, probably the one that's most like me is probably Woody. I'm kind of silly and, I love other people, but I kind of wish I were more like Buzz Lightyear, and then I could get more done.
So, which one do you most relate to?
I like Buzz Lightyear.
Really? I like the cowboy girl. She's feisty, right? We'd be such a good team.
I know, right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Wait.
Okay. One. We're gonna fight for the mic. So over at Sharon's table, just real quick, wanted to let you know that she's got some information on the initiatives. So go over there, grab them, and remember, vote yes, pay less. Okay.
Good plug.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm not an original. So now, we would like to. Oh, I'm gonna let you do this.
Okay. Okay. So we did you guys enjoy the music on the break? Now, just to make you feel guilty for that sad little clapping that you did. So Robert drove all the way from Yelm to come here and perform for you. And Jay drove all the way from Shelton. Woo! And they did it as a favor to our friend Jen. Not only are they talented, but they have good taste. They came and hang out with us, so that's good. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, that was so much better. Okay. Okay, better. Okay, so next, are you ready? Thank you. Holy moly. Okay, next we are going to have the commissioners from District 1, and we are going to start with Will Harris.
Thank you. I'm Will Harris. I'm running for County Commissioner. First, to the Mason Women's Club, thank you for hosting this event. Huge, a lot of work, a lot of background going into this. Throughout this, you've asked personal questions. Some are embed some personal items as we go along the way. And, let's start with key events in our life. We all have them, and they change what we end up doing, okay? February 14th, 1981. Yes, that's Valentine's Day. My first date with my lovely wife, my first kiss with her. We've been married 40 years. 17 April 1985 was the birth of our son, first of 4 kids, okay? And 53 weeks ago today, a significant event happened. That's when you, Mason County, came to me and said, please run. Please run for this office. It was not an easy decision, not because of a service commitment. That's easy. I have 2.5 decades of service commitment in our Air Force, another 10 years of service to our community through Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts of America. The hard part was really giving up time with my wife, and that's what we needed to do. But we sat back and we talked with many of you who said, because I asked, I said, why do you want me? And it got real simple. We want you because of the leadership experiences you've had, the ability to pull people together and come up with a collective good decision that will help our community. That's a huge gap in North Mason right now. It doesn't exist, okay? your ability and your understanding of infrastructure systems, of building and designing facilities and roads and utility systems, and being able to maintain those systems, and understanding large organizations and handling large sums of cash. My last job in the Air Force as a full colonel at 1,000 people, $100 million a year. Today, that's about $145 million. That's actually larger than the Mason County budget, okay? And the great thing, if you decide you want me as your commissioner, is I will have great partners to work with. I will have an unbelievable, just like in the Air Force, I didn't do anything alone. It was a team effort, okay? And, you know, pulling that together and looking at our staff that we have in Mason County, I think we have a great opportunity. But the challenges we have are huge. Up in Kitsap County, between a couple of dry docks coming in, between the airport expanding to a cargo hub, they're looking at 50 to 55,000 new people coming to the greater Kitsap County area to live, to work, to educate their children, to be families. Yes, I see a face in the audience that just goes, and it's priceless. A nonverbal communication, it's absolutely priceless because you're as shocked as we are. And what planning have we done in North Mason? We haven't, and that's the problem. And I think my experience with doing community planning, and then most importantly, it's one thing to plan, it's another thing to advocate for money. But once you have that money, if you cannot execute that money to deliver that project on time, at budget, you may as well have not got the money. You have to be able to do that. And so I did 2.5 decades in our Air Force doing just that. I've done another decade and a half since the Air Force supporting Department of Energy doing exactly those things. And throughout all of this, you know, you'll look at my comparators, and I do ask you, let me just pause. Get informed and vote. If you do nothing else, get informed and vote. Compare me to my other two candidates out there and think about it. What do you want? Look at the types of experiences. Look at what we've done in our past. Look at our ability to follow through on a commitment. Do we stay with it when it's hard, or do we quit and walk away? I do not quit and walk away. I put my first uniform on in 1970. And yes, I was about yay tall. I was a little Cub Scout. 10 years later, I aged out of Boy Scouts as an Eagle. I started the Air Force as a young lieutenant. And 24 years later, I was a colonel. And along the way, you grow. It's just what you do, okay? And if you don't survive. So with that, I look at the growth, and then I look at your protection as a community member, particularly trying to deal with homelessness, and it all integrates together. I will flat out tell you the answer to homelessness and to addiction is not for me to take my problem in my backyard and throw it into yours. That is the wrong answer. We have to help people. We have to help people by addressing addictions. We have to make homelessness less attractive. We take the needles off the street. We stop the flow of drugs. We provide housing, and food, but we do it in a way where it becomes less attractive. We ask people to help and be responsible for themselves. And yes, at the beginning, it's not going to be easy. And there are people, just like, who in here ever went out for a sport? I went out for track one year, okay? And I'll tell you, my first time around the track, well, I didn't make it. Why? Because I wasn't prepared. I hadn't practiced. I hadn't built up the stamina, the strength. And that's what we need to do with our folks that have fallen out of society and fallen into the margins. We need to help bring them back in. I'm getting that 1-minute card, so I'll stop right now. So with that, I want to say thank you very much. I am endorsed by the Mason County Republicans, by the Women's Club, by Senator Drew MacEwen, by Representative Travis Couture, and by Representative Dan Griffey. Folks, get informed and vote, preferably for Will Harris. Thank you very much.
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, I was trying to read it.
No. Don't be like that. Okay, your question is, what is your favorite memory growing up?
There could be a few. Actually, one came today that my wife might not even know. Yeah, no, actually it was 1971. It was a spring. It was right before Cub Scouts was about to let out. And I had done some of my achievements, but not all. I wasn't a wolf yet, okay? And I can remember it was a rainy day, and my dad and I were outside working through those last few steps. You know, learning how to throw a ball, learning how to catch a ball, how to tie a square knot, whatever those little steps are. And it somehow just seems so very appropriate for today, for this moment, because that's what we need to do with so many of our society. Help them learn the little steps. And who knows where they will be in 5, 10, or 30 years. Thank you very much. Oh, God bless Mason County and Washington State, and may God bless America.
All right. Ted, are you ready? So we have Ted Jackson walking up here. You ready for this? You're welcome.
First off, thank you very much for being here. And I want to recognize all of our veterans that are in this community. My dad served 4 years in Vietnam. He was heavy combat. And Marco Brown, who is one of the good people in our community, I just want to say thank you. Will Harris, thank you for your service. So I was blessed. As a young kid, I had a wonderful mom who was Panamanian, and she could make some great Spanish rice. But I spent 35 years in law enforcement. I was very lucky to grow up in Pierce County, went to school in Eastern Washington, and then I was thinking about going to law school, and a gentleman by the name of John Ladenburg hired me on as an investigator in Pierce County. I was the first investigator to ever go into Pierce County, and my first job was to fire the city mayor of Fife. So that's what I did. And then I was very blessed to become a fish and wildlife officer. I spent most of my career as a sergeant in fish and wildlife, and I had some of the most blessed officers ever. They were wonderful people. And then I retired again, and I became a police chief of the city of DuPont. And if you remember that train collision, I was the one on that highway directing traffic, trying to get the trains off the stanchion, trying to get them up to, we put them up to Fort Lewis. So why am I running? This is the second time I've run. And I'm running because I have a different opinion. It's not anything against Mr. Harris or Mr. Netherland or anybody. I just have a different opinion. And so I think I have the knowledge. I'm the only person that you can look at and say he's negotiated contracts on both sides. I've negotiated as an executive. I negotiated contracts as a union person. So when you look at who's going to do what, please look at me. You could say, well, that's Ted. Well, I've been blessed. I really have been blessed. And the last thing I will say, when it comes to fish and wildlife in this community, I've seen it all. I've been to every four corners of this county, Dewato, Tahuya, Hoodsport, everywhere. I've been there. And if you want to ask me a question, I got one story. Yeah. You know what? The Lord blessed us with stories. And you're supposed to ask me.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Can I tell a story?
No, we have to ask you a question.
Okay.
But if you're not done,
No, just like.
Tell your story because you still have time.
yeah.
Folks, there's a story that has never been told in Washington State except with National Geographic. There was a gentleman running up at Fort Lewis. He was the head CPA at Fort Lewis, He was a G15, G17. He was way up there. And he was running, and a bear attacked him. He got mauled like a son of a gun. And so I rushed to the hospital, helped him out. 1 year later, exactly 1 year later, he got mauled again by the same bear. Exact same bear. And I don't tell this story, except my daughters know it, but I don't tell it. Same bear. And how do we know? Because the canine was busted out, and we sent it down to Fort Sam Houston, which they did a necropsy for, and it was the same exact bear. So I don't tell that story very much, but, and by the way, vote, please. I have 2 daughters that I love to death, and they'll vote for me. Thank you very much. So.
All right, Ted. Okay, are you ready, Ted? Yes. Here's your question. What, now this is going back a ways. Okay. So what was or is your favorite arcade game? Not computer game, arcade.
It's got to be Galactica. I love that game. I used to play Asteroids, Galactica. I used to go to 7-Eleven with my brother and play those games. So I never played Donkey Kong. I never understood that game, but Galactica or Asteroids. So thank you all very much, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Ted. Mine was Millipede. I know you want to know. Okay, next. Next. Ready? Next, we have commissioners from District 2, right? District 2, and the first one is?
Let me read this. Richard Beckman.
Woo!
Come on up, Richard.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here today. My name's Richard Beckman, and I am running for Mason County Commissioner District Number 2. So my wife, Kim, of 23 years, is supporting me on this new adventure, and I do mean crazy. A couple days after I announced I was running for county commissioner, Kim was diagnosed with cancer. Thank goodness she's gone through all the hoops, and she's free and clear of all that, but it has been a crazy, wild ride. Thank you, Kimmy. She's still here at every event supporting me. I love you. Anyway, Kim and I want a better Mason County for your kids and grandkids and our kids and grandkids. Kim and 4 of my children, or 4 of our children, I should say, were born and raised here in Mason County. I know, right? I still say I'm sorry. Kim and 4 of our children were born and raised here in Mason County. I wasn't. I moved here in 1995. I chose Mason County. This is where I live. This is my home. So our son just graduated high school with 2 college degrees. One of our daughters has straight A's at her college and is on the president's list. All 5 of our kids are contributing to society, and we're proud of each and every one of them. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I come from a dual foundation in both real estate and technology. As we know, real estate is closely controlled by politics. In fact, most of my adult life has been influenced by politics. When I was in the construction field, there was a slowdown in the timber industry due to the spotted owl. So I went to school during the day on the dislocated timber worker program and received my degree in information systems technology. At night, I went to school for real estate. As we know, real estate became my passion. In the late 90s, growth management went into effect, causing a building moratorium here in Mason County. So I pivoted again, and I went to work for Realtor.com before they were a publicly traded company. I managed teams across multiple states as Realtor.com became a publicly traded company. I really enjoyed merging my real estate experience and my technology experience to help Realtor.com grow. I also enjoyed working for corporate America. In 2007, I purchased a real estate firm. Unfortunately, at the end of that year, the Great Recession hit. This tested my resolve and my ability to deal with adversity. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to purchase another real estate firm and take over 2 additional property management companies during the downturn. I'm the past president and past government affairs chair for the Mason County Association of Realtors. In fact, I'm endorsed by the Washington Realtors. I'm also endorsed by the Washington Farm Bureau. Bless you. Like I said, I'm also endorsed by the Washington Farm Bureau, among many others. I was also selected by my peers as Realtor of the Year. I currently represent Mason County as a real estate broker. And just to let you know, after I'm elected, I will terminate that contract with the county and let the commissioners assign that contract to another reputable Mason County real estate firm. I served on the infrastructure task force for the city of Shelton as well. Now, Mason County commissioners, they deal with important things like building permits, infrastructure, budgeting, and solving problems. Guess what real estate brokers do? They deal with building permits, infrastructure, budgeting, and solving problems. I'm the only candidate that has experience working for and with the county. That makes me ready to go day one. I can hit the ground running and make sure I can deal with the important issues that are going on with the county. So this race has been long and hard, and I'm a business owner, and I like to support local. So I've made every effort to purchase almost all of our campaign materials here locally. I purchased my signs here locally in Mason County. My sign guy volunteers at Oysterfest. My sign guy volunteers at Music in the Park. Same with our collateral here. So we have these great handouts at the booth, so I'd like to encourage each and every one of you to go by and grab one of these, and this was purchased by a local Mason County as well. It says on here that we're better together, and we are. I'm not running for myself. I'm running for the citizens of Mason County. I'm running for our family. I'm really tired of the way things are going, and I want to give back to the community. I don't need this job. We have a very successful real estate firm, but I'm ready to let Kim take over as designated broker as we reach out and try and make change for our county, make it bigger and better than it was. Our real estate firm alone has generated and infused over $3 million into our local economy. Real estate as a whole infuses millions of dollars into our local economy. Just like I did with our campaign, you know, buying our products locally. We need to shop local, and that's what we all should be doing. So as county commissioner, some of the things that I'd like to do, I'd like to take a look at adding on to our infrastructure. Mason County is ranked 50th in the nation for available housing. If we can make investments in our infrastructure to create more housing, all right, 1 minute. If we can make investments in our infrastructure to create more housing, more job opportunities, deal with the homeless, and with that said, I'll just tie it up right there. I'm Richard Beckman. I am the #1 name on the ballot. When you get your ballot, and I'm sure everyone got their ballot, I'm #1 on the ballot. That makes me the #1 candidate. So vote Beckman.
All right, you ready for your question?
No.
Huh. Yes, you are. All right, your question is, what was your favorite cartoon character growing up?
Oh boy, favorite cartoon. I don't know if it was the Roadrunner or the Coyote, you know. They're always chasing each other around. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Tasmanian Devil too. I forgot about that. I do love the Tasmanian Devil. Yeah, well, it's actually mine. I forgot about that one. All right, my time is up. Thank you.
Good job.
All right, so we have Pat Tarzwell on his way up here, I'm sure. Yes, he is.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. It really is wonderful. I don't know how many years the Mason County Republicans have been doing this, but seems like 2 decades worth. I've been here for pretty much every one of them. I don't know what happened during the COVID years, so there may have been a few that we missed. Yeah. Anyway, the Mason County Republican women have been such an integral part of changing this county in this district. You know, about 20 years ago, I became the chair of the 35th Ledge District. Well, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. First day I showed up, I was nominated to be the chair. So I'm going to give you my campaign speech I gave then. I said, don't vote for me, and if elected, I won't serve. Well, it was a winning strategy because I became the chair. So not knowing what they did, I dug into it. We recruited Drew MacEwen. I kind of recruited Dan, but he used a little extortion on me. He says, if I'm going to be the candidate, you have to be the campaign manager. So I was Dan's campaign manager. So we worked really, really hard. We knocked on tens and tens of thousands of doors. 77,500 doors we knocked on. We covered the entire county, the whole district. So outdoor belling these days, it's quite interesting. I run into a lot of people saying, I remember you from years ago. You came to my door with Dan. Well, I've put a lot of time in to the Mason County Republicans, to the 35th Ledge District. I've traveled all over the state helping Republicans get elected. So I'll tell you a little bit about me, those that don't know. Most of the people here have seen me before for almost 2 decades. I'm a small business owner. We make test contacts for contacting medical electronics. Before that, I ran a research and development department, and I've got 5 patents to my name. I'm an innovator. I come up with solutions to problems when no one else can. Well, I think that's a skill set that I can bring to this county. I'm going to have a different approach than pretty much anybody else in the race. I taught the Constitution for a couple of years, so I want to really focus on the individual rights of the citizens. We keep finding ourselves in situations where we worry about group rights. Well, that's the wrong way to look at it. We should be addressing individual rights. Each one of the citizens should matter to us. And I'm finding that's quite true at the doors. But there is a lot of problems coming to Mason County. Will talks about 50, 60,000 jobs, and people moving in to handle the shipyards and the extra jobs up there. Well, a lot of those people are coming to Mason County. Well, we have to plan really well for the growth that's coming to Mason County. But we also want to protect the atmosphere of Mason County. We'd like to keep Mason County a lot more like Mason County. We end up, I hear this at the door all the time. Well, great that we have growth, which is great because it's going to reduce the tax burden on each and every one of you by spreading it out over a larger group of payers, but we can't become Olympia. We can't become Tumwater. We can't turn this county into what they are. So that's what I'd like to do, and I'll have a different approach. I'm going to go back to the Mason County Republican Women's Group. They've been behind everything we've done, and I can't thank you enough. Janie, Jen, all the rest. Leslie, I saw her earlier. The amount of work that's gone into making this county red has been phenomenal. And you know, all the people associated with making that happen, give yourselves a round of applause. So I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm not a politician. I haven't done this before. I've helped a lot of politicians, but I don't have a whole lot to say. I can change things. I can work with lots and lots of various people. When I ran the cruise campaign in 2016, I had over 500 volunteers that were responsible to me. So I've talked to so many people over the last, several months. We've covered the entire district, hit all 20 precincts, and it's been a joy, actually. I must say thanks. When I think Drew started off with saying we have to be unified. Well, I will make this pledge to you. If I do not make it through the primary, I will support whatever candidate makes it through. And that's my pledge to you, because we cannot turn this county over. We cannot go backwards. We must keep adding to the Republican lead. I've been working pretty hard for Drew. I got chastised the other day because I was giving a speech and I ended up trying to raise money for Drew. So, so I'll be here for the long haul. Win or lose, I'm still in this fight. I will keep fighting for Mason County and for the Republicans and for the state of Washington. I'm Pat Tarzwell, running for Mason County Commissioner, District 2. Thank you very much.
Stay here. All right. You ready for your question?
I don't know.
Okay. Yes, you are.
Sure.
All right. So, common toolbox. What tool in that toolbox are you?
Nothing fancy. None of those big giant ones.
I've probably gone through a lot of different tools. When I was a kid, it would have been called a hammer. I moved a lot as a kid. I lived in 19 different houses by the time I was 14 years old. So I went to a new school at least twice a year. And one of the things that I had a real problem with bullies. So when I would go to the new school, I would seek out the bully and I would kick his ass. And let him know that's not acceptable behavior. So yeah, I guess I'd have to be a hammer in those days. Now, I don't know. Probably more like a screwdriver, I guess.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Pat. All right. So, do you want to introduce her? All right.
Okay, so. Okay. Our last candidate is our save the best for last, right?
Women.
Come on. Girls, we got to work on this. Okay, our candidate for judge is Tirsa Butler. Did I say that right? Pretty close. Okay, good. Okay.
First of all, thank you to the Republican Women's Club of Mason County, Janie Jen. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come and speak. I am running for a nonpartisan position, and that is something that matters to me. I can tell you what some of my core beliefs are. I believe in the Constitution of the United States, and when I took an oath to be court commissioner, and when I take oath to be judge, I will take an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, to give you that piece of my core concept of who I am. I currently sit as court commissioner in Mason County. I'm on the bench right now. I want to just talk a little bit about my experience, the breadth of my experience. When I started out, I was with the Attorney General's office. I represented state agencies, Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Labor and Industries, Department of Licensing, among others. From there, I returned home to Mason County. I was raised here in Mason County, returned home, and I changed my practice to that of criminal defense and also representation of children and parents and children in dependency cases. On the criminal defense side, I became the contracted juvenile defender for Mason County, and then also moved in from misdemeanor to felony defense. So my experience is a breadth from civil to criminal. Mason County has 3 judges. They fill 3 different rotations. One rotation is juvenile, one rotation is civil, and one rotation is criminal. I bring experience in all three of those areas. I have the juvenile experience as juvenile defense and representation in the dependency process. Criminal, I have criminal experience, municipal district, and superior court. On the civil side, I recognize that that is my weakness. However, as I have been on the bench, I have been able to do civil cases under the guidance of, my 3 judges right now, Monty Cobb, Dave Stevens, and Dan Goodell. And they have allowed me the opportunity to become more familiar with the areas I am not acquainted with. And so that is an area where I have gained my experience. Talking about the depth, I have represented in administrative, in municipal, district, superior, and the Court of Appeals. So I have experience across a broad area of courts. So that's who I am, and it would be my pleasure to serve all of you as Superior Court Judge for Mason County. Thank you. I know I'm the last on the docket, so I know you all probably are ready to go. Thank you all.
No, they're not. You're not ready to go yet, are you? Fun hasn't even started yet, right? Okay, so this one, Tirsa. Tirsa. Okay, got it. So, this is for the girls out there because you'll enjoy this one. If you were a Barbie, now you can make up any Barbie you want or your favorite Barbie. Did you have favorite Barbies when you were growing up?
I didn't have Barbies growing up.
Me neither. I was poor. I had the knockoffs, right? That's okay. But we're all familiar with Barbie, right? Barbie can be anything and everything. So if you were the best Barbie you can think of, what would you be?
Well, I honestly love my job and love my life, so I probably would be a judge. I mean, that's it for me.
If you couldn't be a judge Barbie, what would you be? Would you be like 70s disco Barbie?
No, I would be, if there's a soccer player Barbie, what was kind of my dream was to be a professional soccer player, and so have to say go Sounders, go Reign. Good teams.
That's a great answer.
See? Okay, so that's what I've got.
Great job. Okay, I know it's kind of weird, but, we got to do something fun. Okay, so, Sharon. Are we going to do it next? Okay, so we'd like all the candidates to come up front, please. Sorry, Tirsa, you got to come back. Come on. Like right here, Sharon, like right here, right there. Yeah, right there. Here, go this way. We're just checking to see if they can follow directions. Go down this way. Okay. You stop at the end. Okay, a little farther. Okay, stop. You got plenty of room. Come on, Pat. Come on. Don't try to get out of it, Sue. Okay, we got to make room for Sue. Nope. Get up there. Okay, so here are all of our Republican candidates. Woo! This is going to be great. This is not sanctioned by the Republican women, just so you know. Just Sharon and I. Diedrich is busy, but we do want to give a shout out to Diedrich because... Okay, woo, he smiled. What? Okay, good job. Okay, so are you ready?
We have one more thing for you to do.
That's you guys, right here in front. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, we have a fun little thing for you to do. Turn around, don't look at us. Don't look at us. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, we would like you to make, you ready? You're going to say it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say it. Okay. We want you to make your favorite animal sound.
On the count of 3.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Fish is not an animal, Sue. No, it doesn't make noise.
Okay.
Okay, we want to thank all of our candidates for showing up and having a good sense of humor. And it's not easy to put yourself out there, so we realize how hard it is, and we appreciate all the work you've done and continue to do. Now we're turning it over to Janie. Okay, so go away now. Go.
No. No, I just,
It's okay, they'll go. Okay.
I'm going to lead the charge here and
That way. Go that way. Okay, you are good. Okay.
you stole my thunder. That was my first order of business, was to thank all these wonderful candidates. They are really, they are really putting themselves out there. If any of you have ever run for office, you have no idea until you've done it how difficult it is. It tests all your skills, and most candidates grow, and I think and are better for whatever they've done, whether win or lose. And we have a wonderful slate of candidates here in Mason County. We are very blessed, and we want to do everything we can to keep Mason County red. And thank you to all of those who've come before us who have worked so hard. Pat, I want to give you a thank you also for all your efforts in getting us red. For Drew, for Travis, for Dan, what you do for us every single day, it just blows me away. I am so grateful and so thankful. So that was my first order, was to say thank you to you guys. Thank you for getting out there, making yourself vulnerable and out there. And today I want to say also, I know we've kind of been saying thank you throughout the day to everybody who's made this event possible. But you know, I was back here at the first one that we did, and I can't remember, it's been so long ago, I think it was 2008 or 2010. So this has been an event that the Republican women of Mason County have put on for at least 14, possibly 16 years. So it's very important, because it's not only the people that show up here, it's the people that those people know that they can go out and get the word and tell them about all of the wonderful candidates and get them out to vote. So along that effort, we do have these little cards that candidates can take, and also all of us, if you're out there doorbelling, if you want to just give it to your friends, it has the slate of state candidates on it, and on the front and on the back it has those that have been locally endorsed by the Republican Women's Club and the Central Committee. So take some. I have a bunch here at the table where Jen is. There's also some at our table. You know, leave them at a restaurant or hand them to a friend or wherever. You know, it really goes a long way to help. So I want to say thank you to our lovely, lovely MCs. Didn't they do a wonderful job? Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Pauline. You guys are a great team. You did great, and you made it fun. We're really appreciative. And I didn't have to do it. I was like, I can't do this. I thought I was out of politics. But anyway, I want to say thank you to the Jay Jenkins Band. That is great. We are so appreciative. It adds so much to have some music, and you guys are great talents. Thank you so much for coming. And also to Diedrich. Thank you, Diedrich. It's been a long time. Thank you. It's so good to see you, and we're grateful and very appreciative. So for those people who weren't able to come today, they can watch it on radio. What's it called? TV. What? Mason TV. Thank you. MasonWebTV. I'm from the dark ages. I'm sorry. See, I told you we go back, way back. Way before that. Okay. Next, Diedrich, Radio Flyer. They've already left, didn't they? Weren't those hamburgers great? And are they down on Railroad and First? So I'm going to go back. I've never stopped, but it was good. It was a good burger. much better than the $28 one I bought the other day. I won't say where. So I'd like to say thank you to the women that I work with Mason County Republican Women. They are awesome. They did a great job. They did it all. Especially, I'd like to say thank you to Becky, who is our treasurer, Becky Cronquist, and Karen Barr, our secretary. She did a great job as timer. And Becky did all the decorations and the setup and everything. She did great. And Kim and Bob and everybody else who helped with that setup and decorations. It looks really nice. I love the flowers. Whose garden did they come from? Becky and Kim's. They are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And April Pooler did all the publicity, put it on our website and on our newsletter. And I'd especially like to give a thank you to my wonderful vice chair, Jen Haglin, who put this all together. She is the one who contacted all the candidates. She made sure everything ran, and she did an awesome job. Plus she did a wonderful job leading the Star Spangled Banner. Thank you so much. It's been my privilege to serve with all of you lovely ladies. I have really enjoyed that. So there are a few announcements, like we will be down on Railroad somewhere, we're not quite sure where, on Friday the 19th for the Bite of Shelton. And I hope if you're a candidate, please talk to me, and we'll get you scheduled to be at our booth. And I haven't done this before, so I'm kind of leaving it up to others who know what they're doing to talk about it. But we'd like to give everybody a chance to participate there with us, and it should be a lot of fun. So in December, at our Christmas party, I gave kind of a call to arms. And I think like all of us, we are just in a state of disbelief of what is happening to the country that we grew up in and that we all love. And we hope that our grandchildren can share the same privileges that we've had and the blessings that we've had. But we're in a very precarious place now. We don't even know if we have a president, or who's running this country right now. It's incredible. And so I gave a call of arms, and many of you have answered it. In fact, I would say most all of you who are here have answered that. And I didn't serve in the military, so I don't know all the military strategies or anything. But I think, first of all, you've got to answer the call, and you guys have done that, and I say thank you. The next, right now, we are like in the throes of active campaigning, and that can become very stressful and very exhausting. And you are out there putting yourself out, your best foot forward, and sometimes you get the door slammed in your face, or at least not a warm welcome or anything, but you got to just carry on. For those of you who have answered the call and are candidates, thank you very much. Keep going. For those of you who are working for candidates and working in campaigns, keep it up, keep going, do whatever you can to support your candidate. And for those of you who are not involved in campaigns right now, maybe now's the time to do it. There are still a lot of doorbells that need to be rung. There's a lot of things that you can do. And most importantly, for those of us here, we can get the word out. We can talk to our friends and neighbors. We can pass out our cards. We can say, here, these candidates have all been vetted by the Republican Women's Club and the Central Committee, and we are very proud to endorse them for us. So I'm saying now is the time we need reinforcements. Each of us, each committee, our candidates committee probably needs more people out there, more people just talking it up. So that's something that each of us can do. And let's see, what else? The end is in sight. we have the end of the primary will be, is that August 16th? 6th. So, but I got my ballot in the mail the other day. I'm sure everybody else did. So get those ballots in as soon as you can. There is an end in sight. There, November, is it the 5th this year, I think, first Tuesday? It's coming. It's going to be here. We don't know who's going to be on the ballot, anything, but we're going to charge through. And we just, most importantly, we need to pray for our country, pray for our candidates, pray for those who are our leaders, that they will be looking to the Lord for their guidance and will lead well and do well. So again, thank you, all of you, for coming. It's been a pleasure to get to visit with you, and I always enjoy being around like-minded people, and now it's time for us to get to work. And as Travis said, vote yes and pay less.
Thank you. Okay, now you guys can help us clean up.